Good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Foundation for the Study of Cycles. My name is Lars von Thienen, and in this weekly session, we review market cycles dataset up to the current day, and I will give you short information of what we do at the Foundation and how we do cycle analysis. So welcome to this session. We do this once a week, Monday. At this point in time, it's repeating every week. So to get this started, I hope you have seen this great new magazine we have pushed out last week. So as you know, as part of the rebirth of the Foundation, we also republish now the official journal of the Foundation for the Study of Cycles, the Cycles magazine. Yes, and this is the second issue. We updated this year, and it's out. It's free. Please just move over to our cycles.org website. You will find it there just at the main website. There's a little icon in the lower right corner of the website, and then browse this fantastic magazine. I think, and I'm sure you will like it. There's a lot of content in it, so you will find articles on updated Dewey's content from the past. So we republished this article, we updated it, and much more to come. And I think we will make a special on especially the magazine with my colleagues Bill and Andy during the next days or weeks. So just monitor our news, and I'm sure we will give you a special Cycles TV session on the new magazine. But it's there. Move over, grab your magazine, go through it. It's great content in there. Yes, today, as always, I have two topics I want to discuss with you, or at least show you for today. Last week we had Mark Newton as a guest here, so thanks, Mark. Anyhow, I think we are moving into very cycles knowledge here. Today I want to get back to some basic stuff. For example, often we receive the question, how can I analyze my own data sets? How do I bring my own data into the cycle analyzer? Most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this already, but for those who are not quite familiar with this stuff, I will show you how to upload your own data. But before we do this, I will also introduce a very interesting data set, which I will also introduce here. So besides, if you know how to do it, at least the new data set, you will like it. And the data set, which we will now quickly go over, and I will show you how to bring this into the cycle analyzer, is this one here shown just on the chart. It's the National Association of Active Investment Managers Exposure Index. What a name for this index here. So, but anyhow, so this is their website. You can move over to this organization. The interesting part of this data set is as it reports the average exposure on US equity markets reported by active investment managers. So what they are doing here is once a week, the members of this association and the active investment managers report their exposure in the stock markets with their current situation. So the range of responses is listed here, or I can even make it a little bit larger. So what they report is from 200% leveraged long to 200% leveraged short. And then in between, they are fully cash, 100% fully invested or fully short. So this means that they report once a week if there are long, leveraged long or short in the market. So, and this acts as a kind of sentiment data. I mean, cycles work very well on sentiment data because sentiment moves in cycles, mood moves up and down. So mood and sentiment, fear is just not jumping around up or down. It moves in cycles here. So that's the reason we like sentiment data. And this is just an example for a data set which kind of represents sentiment of the market participants. And these are professional market participants with their risk exposure in the market. So, I mean, this is the raw data here, which you can see. And the raw data, this is what they anyhow say on their own. The raw data is not predictive in its own. But we are not looking at the raw data. What would be interesting to see if in this data set, so the exposure index of the managers, if there are cycles. So cycles which might guide us in a kind of mood on the active investment managers, on their risk exposure, on their adjustments of risk management. So this is the insight we are looking if there is something. We don't know, but cycle analysis can give us a clue. And the good thing here is, for sure, they provide this data for free. Yeah, so you can go there, grab the raw data, download it onto your computer, and then you have the data. So, and that's now the two topics I want to show you. First, how do we get this data into our cycle analyzer, step one. And the second step, and this is, I think, interesting anyhow, are there cycles in this kind of market data. So, I mean, you just click here, you download this CSV file, and you can upload or open it in whatever a spreadsheet tool you use. I've done this, and I will just open the downloaded raw data and share it with you. So this is the downloaded raw data set here, open just in my Excel spreadsheet application. I just want to make it bigger. Bear with me. So now I think it should be larger. So this is how their data set looks like once you just have downloaded it. Yeah, it provides a day or weekly data set. Then they provide different data points in this data set. I think the main important topic is we are looking here for the raw number here. So the index number, which is here this column, and then the other data, at least not important now. There's much more on this data set, but this is what we are looking at. So in order to prepare this now for being able to upload, we just clear everything we don't need. So let's delete these columns here. We also don't need the S&P data here. So we just need the date information and the raw number here. So we just need to, wait a second, assign the headers. So that we can import it afterwards into our application. And the way how we need to change the headers is we need to label the first column time and the second one simply value. So this gives, once you upload and import it, the information that here is the time information and here's the value information. At least the cycle analyzer don't take care of what data you upload. You can upload your heart rate, your water level in your basement, or whatever you like to upload there. So it's just a time and value combination you will upload here. It doesn't matter how it's sorted. Yeah, it will be sorted automatically. You just save this as an CSV file on your local computer so that you have it as CSV file saved, and then you move over to the cycles application. So once you have cleaned up the data in Excel, you will just move now to the cycles app. You will then go to My Datasets, yeah, and then you can upload new data here with the button in the upper right corner. You have the option to upload or to store 5 data sets in parallel. You can upload as many data sets you want. You can just save 5 in parallel at each point in time. So if you want to add different data sets, you first need to remove one and then you can upload a different one. So just upload now select this data set from your local computer. The Explorer screen will open where you just select the data set. You just can't see it, but you just open the CSV file, which I've shown you in the Excel sheet. Press open. It will just open the data. It will give you basic information about the data set, the data points loaded. So this is the cross-check here. There have been 760 lines in it. You can ignore the minus here because it depends how the data is sorted. It's daily data. At least you don't need to pay too much attention here on the session information. This is used for advanced charting features, which we have not made into the production right now. So you can ignore that and then give this data set a name. So cycles TV NAAIM Index. This is your personal name. Press save. It will be pushed to our database. You will receive this ID, which is personally linked to your account name. And then you can open this data set in the cycle scanner. And here you are. Now we have not only prepared this data set. Now this is the raw exposure index of the of the organization, which dates back to 2006. Yeah, so this helps to give us a good database. So we have 15 years of data here, weekly data, which is good enough to run now some cycle analysis on this data set here. So this is the raw data just now rolled over into our cycle analyzer here, which is, I think, a great starting point for every one of us now to do some cycle analysis. And I mean, now it's up to you to read this chart, but I will give you a quick glimpse of this here because the raw data is not predictive. But let's have a look at the spectrogram chart here for this data set. And I mean, you see two clear peaks here in the spectrum. Yeah, the first one length 184 weeks. And the second peak here is 73 weeks. So they clearly stand out, these peaks, which is always important in the spectrum. They have green triangles, which is good because the Bartle score is high. And the size of these triangles is also big, or at least bigger as these minor ones here. So all three criteria, which we use and we tell you every time, are met. And if you sort them by strengths, you will see these ones here. The first three I would skip. The Bartle score is too low. So the first one, which shows anyhow up based on the method we teach every time, is the cycle with the length of 73 weeks. So you can use this for kind of, not prediction, but you see also how nice this is. This is aligned with the current past here, with the high, the low, high, low, low, high, and then another high, low. So this goes back 15 years, and you see even this static cycle is very nicely aligned with the raw data of the active investment managers here. So this is outstanding, this correlation. So let's add the second cycle, which is the length of 184. Yeah, high Bartle score, good strength score. So let's add this into the mix. This is the longer one, which stands out here. And so activate these two cycles. And you see how nicely these two cycles with the composite hold clearly with the raw data in regards to tops and bottoms of this index here. So the message here is, which I want to bring across, is that these two cycles in this raw data set from a sentiment point of view look very promising. And now this is the last picture here I will show you. This should speak a message, right? If it comes to how the cycle is projecting into the future here. Yeah, you see what's here. So this is the top, this is the top. And I would recommend now, do your own homework, what you should do now on your own. I mean, I hope you can read the takeaway, yeah, if you see this chart here with the where we are in this cycle here. But what you should do now is please make your homework and align the tops and bottoms here from this cycle chart and match them to the S&P 500 or for the Dow Jones and see what happened in these cycle tops and bottoms in the main markets. This will tell you the real story. But yeah, we don't give you a fish, we teach you how to fish. So this is up to you now as a final part. I think I wanted to combine two topics here in this first session. So hopefully you have taken away how to put new data into the cycle scanner. Yeah, what you need to do, download it, re-prepare it, upload it. We use the example here of the Exposure Index, anyhow like this index, so do this on your own. This is a very interesting sentiment data set. And on the other hand, other side of the story, this data set speaks a very interesting message if it comes to the two cycles I've shown you here. So that's the first part. Okay, so the second topic for today, as always, let's have a quick look at the current market, because we are also here to review current market data, and let's have a look what the cycle analyzer shows us. So let's switch to the S&P 500. So let's open the data set. Let's do this in a quick way. I think you know how to do it. I will use our Yahoo wrapper. Just add this into the symbol ID here. And let's grab the S&P 500 here. So that's it. Basic procedure as always, nothing special here. So the spectrum speaks about, this one stands out here. So the one with the length of 167, this is the first one to pick. High strength, good Bartle score, clear peak in the spectrogram. So this is the first I think I will come to your questions in a second, so I will review your topics. So feel free to rush in your topics. I will review it in a second. So let's get back just short on the S&P 500. Then this one here, the Bartle score is a little bit lower here, but a clear peak also, and a very good strength score, the length of 126 days. And at least from the Bartle's perspective, here we have a peak in the spectrum with a very long cycle here, which seems to show up with 339 days. So these three ones from a spectrum view, I mean, we can also go back into our list in a second here, but that's at least how we get it started. I want to talk a moment, or let's keep a moment on this blue one here, because the Bartle score, you might argue the Bartle score is too low. Right, we always talk about using high Bartle scores. If you have frequently viewed this channel here from I think mid-October or November, we talked about the cycle with the length of 180, 170 something, which was very constant over the whole last year, but then has gotten out of sync end of last year. And this is a kind of indication that maybe new dominant cycles play a more important role on the markets. Cycles never stay static over the whole period. However, we don't know which cycle will then roll over. And if new cycles come into play or take over dominant roles for the first time, it's the kind of the design that the Bartle score, once the cycles show up new on the list, the Bartle score will be low. Because what the Bartle's test is doing here, it's a statistical significance over the full data set which we have analyzed. So if new cycles show up, they will only have a good Bartle score in the current past, because they have not been dominant or not active, or from a statistical perspective, they have not have enough repetitions over the past data set. So that's their nature. If new cycles come up, they have a low Bartle score. So you need to understand this behavior, because a low Bartle score in general means this cycle has not been from a statistical point of view, persistent over the whole data set which has been analyzed, which should not be used in the first run. But as we know that the dominant cycle which has been active for the past year has become out of sync, we should look out for new cycles which pop up. And if you see the strength score here, I think the strength score is very high for this topic. So the triangle, the size of the triangle is large compared to the other ones. And at least the Bartle score is not red, so it would be too low, but so at least it might be useful to use. And the final point here is it's also a peak in the spectrum chart. Yeah. And so if you have a clear peak in the spectrum, which is here, that's also an indication. So that's why you need to treat it carefully, maybe not to select in the first time. The three ones I want to show, and maybe we can put this on and off and toggle this one to see what it means. But let's use the 167 and this longer one here. 167, it's this one here, and the longer cycle here with the 339. So that's the composite of these two cycles. I think just scrolling the last 5 years, they catch the major tops and bottoms in the markets. And now let's add the other one, which is 126. This is what I told you, a nice strength score. Yeah? So from the strength perspective, it's now popping up the list. So the strength of this cycle is very high, even though the Bartle's not. But this is a new kid on the block. Yeah, let's call it a new kid on the block, which is popping up the ladder or the chart, the top 10 charts. This is now a new song, a new star. Not sure if we can trust it, but at least we should test it. And these three cycles, if you add it then to the mix, let's have just a quick cross check here. At least this composite based on these three cycles, classic procedure, is what will show you the current cycle analysis for the S&P. That's it as a basic procedure. I think both cycle analysis I've done here today, the longer term one with the sentiment index on the exposure index, there was a clear message in it. If you remember, we did the financial stress index also in past episodes. Review the ones where we reviewed the financial stress index. And today you have again the S&P daily cycles as an update. They coming into alignment now. I think you are able to derive your own conclusions out of this. But that's mainly it. I want to have kind of basic procedure. That should be part of your daily cycle analysis routine. The data sets you are using might differ depending on what you are mainly focusing on, but that's how we do it. Bring in your own data, ramp up the digital signal processing we provide, as easy as that, and then you have your cycle analysis. So for the last section now, I will get back to your questions and let's review your topics here. So I will start to go from top to bottom. You talked about that the dataset export was not working. You're unable to save. So the export, let me just quickly test it, is done here via a click on this button here. Which works on my end. You can't see the pop-up here, but once you click it, a pop-up will open which allows you to save this data. So at least on my test, the export worked. You can't see the pop-up because it's not in the browser, but the way how to do it here is press this button here for export dataset. So please let me know what your individual message here is. Okay. Possibility to add smaller cycles in the form of dots or bottom and lows to composite cycles. A function to enlarge the screen. I mean, so what you can do to make your analysis a little bit larger, you can remove the menu section here. Yeah, if you click on this function here, it would get a little bit larger here. So if you're looking to enlarge this screen here, so make this section bigger, or to make this section smaller. Maybe Miguel help me a little bit, or provide some details what you try to figure out. I can comment on that in a second. I have other saved data sets in my workbook from weeks ago and can retrieve them, but will not be able to add new data sets. So this is how you save workbooks. Workbook saved. What happens if you save the workbook? You should be able to go to your workbooks, then collect the one. This is the one I just currently, or I just saved just a minute ago, and I can open that one again. So at least on my end, this is still working. Let me know what the issue is. Better late than never. Yes, Epis, you made it. Okay, I would like to learn how to obtain more long-term data. So sometimes the retrieval is limited to 5 years. What you can try to do is you can always try to retrieve more data. So this is the standard setting will load the 3 to 5 years. There's this range button here down below in the section, which you can switch which periods you want to load. And you can always try to add another year to the data set. So the +1 year should bring up another year to the data, which is here in light blue. So it just loaded another year onto the chart. And I can repeat this period here by just pressing +1 year again and again. And another year has been added to the data set. What is required and important to have in mind that the cycle analysis has not been updated. So if you want this new data to be in your analysis, you need to press the reset range button, to ensure that all data will be used for the cycle analysis, which I did now. So now it's dark blue and you get the updated data then with the additional data on this here. So that's the way how you can always grab more data besides the 5-year limitation anyhow. And the other way is you need to upload your own data set beyond 5 years of data. Jason, yes, I have noted that the 170 to 180 cycles have started to shrink using current data. Yes, more frequently. Yes, exactly, Jason. This is what I tried to explain. So this cycle here, from the strength perspective, you see also even that I'm at more data, it's getting down the ladder, and the cycle with the length of 120 is getting up the ladder. This is exactly what we can observe, even though the Bartle score, this is also what I told, the Bartle score on this one is quite higher, but that's because in the overall history this looks good, while the 120 just looks good in the current past and not in the distance part. That's the reason for the difference in the Bartle score. Dominant cycles of 40. Yeah, that might be then the shorter ones I've not added, but it's quite useful to add this into the mix. Thanks, data export works fine for me. Retrieval also. Thanks, Jason, for the confirmation. So feel free just to drop me a note or send me an email. Yes, the central screen. Okay, Miguel, thanks for adding that. So yeah, and I often had the same question. So just the cycle model builder to go full screen to get the list out of the mix. What I think, it's not possible yet, but what I think makes sense is to have another icon here on top, which makes this large screen like a YouTube video or chart. So just this section pops up full screen, and I will take this on the to-do list because this is really useful, Miguel. I agree with this. And the little dots for the info without. Yeah. You mean not to add the smaller cycles into the composite, so that the composite is used by the main 3 to 5 cycles, and just putting dots of the smaller cycles on the bottom. I will take this into account. Let me think about it. Could be an easy one to add there. Donna, thanks, but how to obtain from 1980? Have to add the 1 year button. Yeah, you can press the 1 year button, or you can, I don't know, you can try. Let's try it here. What do we have? What's the data set here? It's the Yahoo wrapper. If we try to the maximum button, but I think it will not. Oh. So this is what is at least loading what has been requested so far by the colleagues. So this goes back to 1996. And if this will not bring up more data, if you press the +1, this means that the Yahoo wrapper is not providing more data. Yes, but you see here another year has shown up here. You see it here, that's the light blue one, which just has been added. And it might not be comfortable, but if I now press the 1 year again and again, it will bring up the next year after the next year. And you just need to do it once, because the next time if you press load max data, so now we have 1993. So yeah, that's the procedure. You can load up year by year up there the whole data set. And if on the next time you press the max button, it will always go back to this point in time here, because it has not to be retrieved again here. Otherwise, the only way is just upload your own, or export whatever you have from 1980 something, put this in a CSV file and upload this into the scanner to get it done. Yeah, thanks for liking the Monday Cycles report. That's I like to hear this, and I think the archive is now growing with lots of topics in these videos, and I agree we need a kind of index to provide quicker search and retrieve. Yeah, we'll do that. So at least we are running now for 30 minutes. That's the purpose of every Monday. I hope you liked a little bit the additional info I tried to bring in here. It's always a kind of mixture, using features, keeping it to basic stuff, but always my important thing is to bring you something new. Maybe you like the exposure index and the cycles themes there. If you like this Monday Cycles TV, please press like it. Share it on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just a click for you, but every click helps to grow the foundation for the study of cycles. That's our purpose. We want to push the knowledge on cycles, and that's the purpose why I do this once a week. Thanks for being part of it again this week. Feel free to drop me your notes, comment below the session here, and I would like to see you back next week on Monday again. So have a nice week, stay safe, and we will meet again next week.